Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the If You Ask Me podcast. Today, I have a special guest coming all the way from out of the country. I'm here with my blood brother, Jerry Chavarria. Jerry, thank you for being here, bro.
My pleasure.
Today, we're going to be talking about the sport of soccer in multiple ways. Why? Because my brother Jerry, he's a beast. I consider him a living legend, a king in the sport of soccer. His business savvy, entrepreneurship, with all that he's done. He's got his two boys that are killing it in soccer, which he'll talk about. I'm sure that I can ask him questions about that. But when I say that I have a special person here that knows the game of soccer, not just the game, played it, but the business side of it, the training side of it, the international side of it, we're in some good hands. If you're tuning in, you're gonna love this. If you're into soccer, if that's your sport, you're gonna really appreciate this one. Jerry, for those that don't know you, who are you, sir?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me here and this pretty cool and amazing podcast that you got going on. Well, my name is Jerry, one of the 12 siblings in the family, and basically what I do is focus on youth sports, specifically in the sport of soccer. We like to call it football, of course. We're in the States, so we have to also be addressing the people in the fan base, but that's mainly it. That's what I do. I do soccer.
And Jerry, with that, as a soccer, I call you a soccer expert. Would you agree or disagree? I think you're an expert in soccer. You know that sport really well from the side of the gameplay, but also from the trainer, coach. You're a freaking coach, bro. You're a trainer.
Obviously,
you're a specialist.
No,
you're a sharpshooter.
I think
you're the fourth quarter. Give him the ball. Unless I'm on the team, that's a whole different story. I'll shoot the last shot.
No. Obviously, it's been quite a journey to have been a part of this amazing sport, and all I can say is that you do gain a lot of experience, just being around the game at all different levels.
Okay.
But there's definitely
Skill.
more equipped and more, skilled
I don't
coaches
know
out there than myself. No, it's just
I don't know about that, Jerry.
So it's I like to say, I'm just getting started. I like learning. So.
Okay, so Jerry, question: are you a coach? No, you're not a coach, or you are a coach.
Am I a coach?
Yeah, like.
Well,
you've coached before.
I'm involved in the sport, and I'm involved in the sport
in multiple ways,
in different ways.
So you do coach.
I coach.
You train.
Sure.
You scout.
Yeah.
You travel. Right.
Part of the
job. Could
you
say right? What else are you doing that I'm not mentioning that I may not be aware of? Like, what else in soccer, as in the sport?
Well, I mean,
developing. I mean, I don't know. Just because I don't, people need to know, man. People need to know that who's here it's a very experienced individual in multiple ways in soccer.
Yeah, no, that's
not even touching anything else outside of soccer.
That's what I mean. It's like, you've spent so many years in the sport, and like I said, at all levels. There's from the recreational AYSO to the more competitive club soccer, to then getting involved with international tournaments and competing with some of the major academies in the world, specifically in Europe, and then getting an opportunity to be involved in the professional aspect as well.
Yeah.
More specifically in our country.
Yeah.
Honduras. So
the motherland.
The motherland. So it's like I said, it's a special position to be in, because you get to see all levels, and I think what we like to do is just soak it all in. We're basically just involved in every way,
in every aspect of that sport.
Every aspect in every way possible, because I think there's so many different things that you can do through the sport.
Sure.
So if you limit yourself to just being a coach,
then
that's it.
Yeah.
But for individuals like myself
Mhm.
and others that are a part of our program,
Yeah.
we like to think outside the box, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why we do what we do. We travel outside the country. We
Yeah.
travel outside to major European tournaments. All of that obviously is a big part of what we do.
Yeah. Okay, Jerry. Let me before we go into any of those other things, a little of your history. You played soccer, child, middle school, high school.
Yeah.
Soccer was a thing you did. You played. You played soccer.
Yeah.
You know the sport. And but you also played other sports. You played basketball.
Yeah.
You're a pretty decent shooter.
Mm.
I don't think
Just gonna leave it right there.
I think you're a decent shooter. I don't know if among all the siblings you're the hottest hand on the court. That's to be debatable.
It's getting a little hot in here already.
But you definitely got a shot, and you definitely can play basketball. You definitely can play soccer. Did you play baseball? I think a little. You dabbled a little bit on
we
baseball.
We were playing pretty much every sport.
Okay, space. So very athletic, multiple sports. Why soccer? Why'd you fall? I would almost say you fell in love with soccer, or you are in love with soccer. But why soccer out of all the other sports?
Well, I remember very clearly one scenario where one of our older brothers was playing for a team already, and it was a club team. And I remember just coming to watch the game, and I thought that it was fun. I mean, growing up as a kid, early age, probably around 7 or 8 that I can recall, and I was just talking about this with another friend of mine just the other day. But it was I would see the kids dressed up in uniforms playing baseball. So the first sport that I really wanted to play was baseball. And why? Because I liked the fact that they were, and I remember specifically the uniform that those kids were wearing.
They look good. They look sharp. It looks pretty cool. Like,
it looks really cool, and it was like, wow, this is
hats,
a team sport.
The little gloves, the long pants, the jerseys.
And I remember it was like the Cleveland Indians,
Yeah.
So I was like, that was pretty cool, and that always stuck with me. I wanted to play on a team.
Yeah.
Then when the opportunity came to like I said, come and watch one of our older brothers play, I asked if there was a team for my age, and right away they said, yeah, there's a team, come and try out. So I did, tried out, and picked up the ball from that moment on, and I fell in love with the sport. I already knew about the sport, growing up. Our dad played professional.
Yeah. Wait, Jerry, I think I got confused with something. When you were describing the sport, the uniform, I thought you said baseball.
It was baseball.
Oh, okay.
It was baseball.
But then you said you tried out for something.
No, I never. Oh, so let me go back for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry. So to clarify, so that was when I was about 6, 7 years old. Now we were obviously very limited with so many things growing up, and this was in East LA, so we didn't get a chance to ever be a part of the baseball
culture,
or even organized sports, So in that sense, but when it did come up as an opportunity, it was in the sport of soccer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about the tryout, when you said I
tryouts,
tried out, that was soccer.
That was soccer. So I was at a soccer game, watching one of our older brothers play, and I thought it was cool. Well, once again, here I am, kids dressed in uniforms, playing the sport, and obviously soccer was a big part of us as well.
Yeah.
So we grew up playing every sport.
Yeah.
And then when I was invited to do the tryouts, the soccer tryouts, I made the team, and
what position?
so I was mainly an attacking midfielder.
Okay.
Attacking midfielder, striker.
How old are you at this point?
I was 14.
And you already were you skilled at this level, or you made the team?
Yeah,
look, the team. So
we were the type of players that it's funny because we I've mentioned this on different occasions with even my own kids that we were like the street ballers, right? So if it was basketball, we knew how to do the crossovers, right? We knew how to try
and ones, the
one-on-ones,
the and one culture,
right?
Not the true sport of
not the organized, structured sport.
Street ball.
It was just street ball. So that was a thing in soccer as well.
Okay.
And then I struggled the very first season because I just wanted to do what I knew.
Street soccer.
Street soccer. Just give me the ball, and I'm going to try to dribble past 2 or 3, 4 guys.
Yeah.
I don't remember really understanding, that I had to give a pass and then I would get it back. So it was a little bit of that. And then obviously there was very little tactical knowledge of the sport. So it was more like just kind of do your own thing and see if it works. And for us, it always worked because we felt that we were good at the sports and we kind of just embraced that. But then I was sat down on the bench. You know, I had to sit on the bench and say, hey, well, you don't know how to play as in a team.
Yeah.
You're not a team player.
You can play the sport, you can play the game, but you need to learn how to play it at this organized level,
positioning,
with all the details that are involved in that, right?
Positioning, understanding the responsibility of every position.
But when did you, as you start there, when did you go? Did you ever experience like, I want to do this like at a high level?
Yeah,
because some people just play for fun.
Oh yeah, no.
Did you ever have an experience where you go, yo, I just love this sport. Like I want to eat, sleep, and drink soccer. I want to play. I want to get better. I want to go to the gym. I want to work out. I want to run. I want to get off the bench and become a starter. Like when did you notice that, if that ever happened to you?
No, yeah. We growing up, obviously a lot of things matter in professional sports or at least in a professional or someone that aspires
pursuing it or
trying, or it could be even a prospect.
Yeah,
a lot of things matter, such as size, right?
Yeah.
Basketball, you got to be really tall.
Yeah.
Or you can be short, but you got to be really good.
Yeah.
Or just there's different things. But in soccer, I think from the moment that I got involved in the sport, I really wanted to play professional. I said, I'm going to play this game and I'm going to play it at a high level. That was my mentality in every sport that I played. But in soccer, I felt that I needed to make a decision because you mentioned it, right? We played every sport.
You had options. You had to pick one. Which one you choose to pursue?
And I remember in high school, probably must have been maybe like my 9th, 10th grade.
Yeah.
I was on I was doing tryouts with the varsity basketball team.
In basketball. So, yeah. Okay.
Varsity basketball. I had made the team as a point guard. And the coach came up to me, literally right outside. I remember this, right outside the gym, and he pretty much stopped me in my tracks and said, "Jerry,
you got to pick.
Yeah, we're doing both sports in the fall, and you need to make a decision. It's either going to be you can play basketball with us, or you're going to play soccer." And was
that an easy decision?
That was
for you?
the most,
or was it a
easiest
decision
for me? It was like, I play soccer.
Dang, that's crazy.
So, and the funny thing is, our school didn't even have a team. So we actually organized the team.
Oh wow!
The coach that brought me in knew that I played club soccer, so he pretty much organized a team around 3 or 4 guys that were playing club soccer.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. You guys were the founders.
We were pretty much the founders of that team.
Damn, that's dope. That's dope. Okay,
first soccer team at our school.
So you play soccer. You go through the years. you. We don't have the time to go through everything in the middle, but you definitely played. The soccer's it's in your system. It's in your DNA. You then I want to go to now your boys that are ridiculous soccer players. Like these kids are monsters. Like they're beasts. Would you agree?
I'll be shocked. No. Obviously, these are kids that started the sport at a very young age.
Since infantry, bro. Since they were in,
they were young.
Possibly diapers. They're juggling the ball.
Well, the thing is,
they didn't do the option of like multiple sports, right? They didn't play basketball, soccer, flag football.
No, in fact,
them boys were
they were strictly
soccer athletes, and they're
gonna get on my case if they see this and they hear Dad say soccer. So Dad, that's got to go. It's football.
Okay, why don't we do a pause and talk about soccer and football before we continue the kids?
Yeah.
What's up with that? What's up with soccer and football? Why is that a thing?
It's always a thing. It's always a thing in the U.S.
So the U.S. ruins it by calling it soccer.
I don't know. No.
But internationally, globally, it's football.
They don't ruin it. It's very popular here. We use that term often as well. And
so is that a playful like? We don't, don't call it. Come on, man. You can't call it. You can't call it soccer.
It's funny because it can be playful, but it's not
There's
playful.
There's some serious to it. There's
it's definitely some seriousness to it. It's
so you don't call it soccer.
We don't call it soccer.
Ever. Like it's not to be called. Are you saying that we're not supposed to use soccer?
No, but I have to use that term here.
Okay.
It is not a common term that is used, in the international
community.
Yeah.
Okay. What is I'm curious. If you say soccer out there in Barcelona, whatever, these places, Spain or our motherland.
First of all, we won't say it. They're going to say it. So you guys are the ones that use soccer, right? So they kind of like it's almost like they're teasing.
Yeah.
They're kind of making
Okay,
fun
so
of.
that's just like an internal thing within the sport,
Yeah.
soccer, football. All right, so let's go back to the kids.
So no, the kids picked up the sport really young.
Yeah.
Both of them started when they were about 3 years old.
Yeah.
And you know,
they're in their early teens or mid teens.
Yeah, I got
teens?
one that's about 15, just turned 15. The other one's 17.
17. Okay.
Just turned 17.
Okay, cool.
So no, they really just enjoyed being around the sport, being around other kids.
Yeah,
It
Jerry,
started off very
a question that comes to mind about your teenage boys: are you the strongest influence of their of their skill sport? Because I know you were hands on with them, coaching them, training them, developing them. How much of that is a lot of you versus other things too, like maybe other coaches or other organizations, other tournaments? Because I don't want to misunderstand it, but I kind of see it as like them boys are because of dad was in what do you call it, like depositing in them the sport. Because you got game, you played the game, you know the game, you got skills, and then you got your boys, and you're like you get to just download it on them.
Yeah. Well,
so how much of that is dad's?
I think
passing on the torch.
Yeah, no.
Or a combination of other people as well, or maybe both. What do you say to that?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but the most important one that I could point out is that they were just around the sport.
Mm-hmm. They liked it. They enjoyed
while we
it.
played.
Yeah,
but
so it was easy maybe to like instill it in them and pass
yeah,
it on to them because they were invested into something.
Well, they were in
right?
that environment.
Yeah.
So if a kid is watching his mom, dad play sports, if they play softball, if they play baseball, chances are that kid is going to want to play maybe that sport.
Yeah.
So that was important, just being around the sport.
Being around the sport, seeing it.
But as far as the development and just the growth, it's a combination of many things. One, I would say, is one that it's kudos to the kids. I mean, if a kid picks up a ball, and tells you every day he wants to go kick the ball, he wants to go shoot in the goal. Yeah. As a father, loving the sport, you just basically say, "Let's go,
let's go, let's go have some fun.
Let's go have some fun. Let's go kick the ball around."
Yeah.
And you start off that way, and so a lot of it was just they fell in love with the sport.
Yeah.
And then even at a young age, watching the most, famous tournament of all, which is the World Cup.
World Cup. These are kids These are little kids watching this.
My kids were probably 4 and 5 or 6 or so when they watched the first World Cup when Argentina got to the finals and lost against Germany.
Are we talking them watching the sport, invested in it, or they're kind of just roaming around?
No, they were especially the older one invested. The younger one was there too. It's funny because in that finals, my oldest, who was at the time was probably about 6 years old, was weeping and crying because Argentina had just gotten defeated by Germany. Then the little one comes around and says, "Dad, what's going on with Julian?" And I said, "Well, Argentina lost." So he looked at his older brother, and then he started crying too. So it was one of those things where it's like, my brother's
if he's hurting, I'm hurting
too. Yeah. So and again, being around the environment of football, and then starting to watch it on TV, and then it got really crazy.
Yeah, Jerry. Before let me interject real quick because before we go to that crazy part, because I think I know where you're going to go with this. I want to fast forward and then rewind again. The fast forward is your boys. Real quick, insert what your boys do now and how, because they're invested in this sport. Now we're talking about 15, 17, and they, we hinted at their little 4-year-old, 5-year-old stages. Fast forward a decade and some change, these boys are on a different playing field. Like these kids they've played in tournaments.
Yeah.
You touched on it earlier about, if not some of the biggest, if not the biggest tournaments internationally, the MIC Cup, I think, right? So that anyone watching, right, tuning in, they don't know you, they don't know us, they don't know anything. That we're talking about your boys, but can you just lightly touch on who are your boys right now? What are they doing right now in the sport, so that they get a picture of who we're talking about?
Well, if you
ask me,
the fact that they fell in love with the sport
allowed
them to pursue working on their craft. I mean, it was more one of those things where every day they're out with the ball, they're juggling, and you saw the growth.
Yeah.
And like you said, fast forward to today.
Because then we'll rewind it, and I want to I want to ask you about the process,
right.
but just
Well, so
real
we're
quick,
basically
what
where
are
they're
these
at
boys
now
doing now?
is I would say in a nutshell is just they're still following their dream.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the father's dream. It's not the
Yeah.
father trying to, you know, fulfill his dream
Yeah, through their children,
through their kids.
Yeah.
It was this thing where it's like, listen, if you want to play the sport at a high level, if you want to play at a high level, there's, you know, some sacrifices.
There's a route. There's a route to go. And and maybe your role as a parent was to
mine was just
a
support.
Yeah.
Mine was always, and it's always going to be, you know, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Do you not want to do this? It's okay too.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to give it. You know.
Yeah.
You gotta
go all in. Yeah.
So right now, where they're at, they're in my country. We're in, you know, Honduras. Both of them decided to play for a third division team that we bought. So we're owners. I'm co-owner with Gabe. Casa Nueva Football Club, new house, and both are now playing for our team. And the 15-year-old and 17-year-old are playing with kids that are, I wouldn't say kids, they're with men that are under 33.
That's crazy. See, so this is where I want to just pause for anyone watching, listening. We got teenagers playing with grown men, and they're in the mother country because they're American boys born in America, right? Yeah. But and that's why we'll talk about that process because there's a reason why they're at the motherland, and you're also coming from other places like the MIC Cup. The MIC Cup tournament is in Spain, right? So and we'll talk later on in a little bit. There's life. The boys are also living in Spain. Right now they're in Honduras, but there's a journey, there's a process. And but for anyone that's watching, excuse me, just know that we're talking about the sport of soccer. We're talking about Jerry. We're talking about what Jerry does. His kids are also invested in this, and the future is nothing but bright. But trying to put some perspective on like what are we talking about? So they can't get the big picture. You know soccer. You're living soccer. You've lived soccer. Soccer is a big, you just said it a second ago. You own a team, co-owner of a team in Honduras. So eat, sleep, and breathe soccer. We're in the best hands right now. I know nothing of soccer, by the way. I have very little. I barely know a few names of like, besides the Messis and the Ronaldos. And I'll ask you later who you think is the GOAT. We'll talk about that later on because that's debatable between Messi and Ronaldo, right?
If you ask me.
So, but now let's go rewind it again, and let's talk about the process. Let's talk about the process of these little kids are watching World Cup at such an early age, and they start asking you like, "Dad, I want to kick the ball outside," and you go, "All right, cool, let's go kick the ball." How do you see the development? How do you see? You know, what I'm trying to get to is like how do you play with that now? How do you go, wow, my boys might be interested in this, and it's my job to support, so here I am going to do it. And what do you start seeing in them responding to that somewhat, if you maybe you can even call it a passion, an early desire?
Well, this is obviously speaking on sports, but in for me, it's the way I see it is whether it's a sport or a hobby or academics, anything that the kids do. For instance, if your kid is an amazing little, I should say, if your kid, if you have a kid and that kid is interested in or shows interest in like music, picks up an instrument, and shows passion and love, and wants to learn how to play the guitar, well, it's no different. You're gonna invest.
Right.
You don't want your kid to just, grab the drumsticks and start banging the drums, and then all you're hearing is just a bunch of noise.
Yeah.
You see that they're interested, they like it, they show interest in it, so you invest. And what you do is you perhaps you get private lessons.
Right.
So what we did was we started seeing those signs, and we said, well, let's invest. And fortunately for me and for them, for me, I didn't have to pay to have private sessions for our boys, and for them, same thing. They had dad that was always there to help them with the development and just the growth and learning how to do different things with the soccer ball, et cetera. And then that led to, more of a rapid growth. The investment was there, the time and energy and that one-on-one attention was there so often and so much that you saw improvement, as they,
Yeah.
as they went on.
Did you ever? And I'm like, for the sake of not assuming if they've ever like had an up and down relationship with soccer. Did you ever see that in them? Like they're all in, and then maybe because I'm assuming, I don't know the whole story, but did they ever go like, man, this is great, but then it's like, I don't know, this season, I don't know, I'm thinking about it, I'm second guessing, or have they always been, this is what I would love to do, I want to keep doing this? Like what have you noticed that in them?
It was both.
It's a little bit of both.
It was both because there were moments where at the competitive side of football where you're doing tournaments, and especially when you're doing like local tournaments, they're having to play. They train all pretty much 3-4 days out of the week, and then weekends you have games, and you have to travel. If you're living pretty far, you're traveling just to get to the center to meet somewhere in the middle to meet even with other parents and other kids and carpool, and then you got to ride. You got to drive another hour, hour and a half to get to another game. Yeah. There's a lot of traveling, and a lot of times you were missing out on like family gatherings, birthday parties. You struggle with that because they're kids and they're growing up. So we tried. We did make every effort to even come to the birthday parties after the tournaments. Yeah. So we were out 24/7 with the kids. Right. I remember, one of the rules was, hey, we're on these long road trips. You got to get a book and start reading. And make sure you're reading in the book. And then, so it was always something important, something positive to do. But they struggled with that. And at the same time, to answer your question, it was, they knew they wanted to do this. They knew the sacrifice. They knew
almost like what they knew what they were signing
they
up
knew,
for.
Yeah,
if you're going to go this route, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, because they had the opportunity to many times just say,
to not do it.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's taking a toll. And we had conversations with Nina, my wife, and we talked about that too, where it was like, we have to mix it up a little bit and we kind of balance things out so that they don't burn out. Because a lot of kids burn out.
And then they lose the passion for it or whatever. And
yeah, they lose the passion, or even sometimes like the parents are too pushy, and too they focus too much on thinking they have the next Messi or the next Ronaldo. Yeah. And really it's just allow the kids. When you allow the kids to enjoy the game and fall in love with the sport,
it's just going to be a little easier, a little more pleasant.
I would say
everybody.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
It's just going to be something that they're gonna enjoy, and you as a parent, when you step back and you watch your kids play, and and they're out there just enjoying themselves, then that makes you happy as well.
No, Jerry, look, we're going into a 30-minute mark, and I don't want to exhaust your time because we're obviously late into our evening tonight. I can talk to you for hours, but let's fast forward a little bit here, just for the sake of time and for your time. I'm interested. I could go 1,000 more questions, and we'll definitely could come back and have more parts of the conversation. But we got some context of the big picture here, what you're doing, how soccer, and I feel like part of me wanting to have a conversation with you about soccer was, one, because soccer is even though it's soccer and it's not it's not business, it's not education, it's just that it's that realm, it's that world. I really do think you're really a master in that space. You know the sport, you know the game, you know the culture. You're a trainer. You have tournaments. You've taken kids to Spain to play at the highest level. Your kids are in Honduras right now playing at the team that you just the Casa Nueva, right? And I think I'm fascinated by it. As a person who doesn't even like soccer, I take that back. It's not that I don't like soccer. I just don't love soccer. I love I enjoy basketball way more than I do soccer. Like, I could talk to you about NBA all day, sports teams, history, and all that, right? But soccer, bro, I don't know soccer. And I'm fascinated how the passion that you guys have demonstrated, that I was like, I want to have this conversation with you because it's bigger than soccer. Like, soccer to me is the vessel, the tool, the vehicle, but you learn so much, man. There's like you learn so many things through the sport, but you even learn so much through the journey, like the choices, the sacrifice, the commitment, the dedication. Those are the things that really stand out to me. Like, there's no way you guys could have done you could be doing what you're doing without having to sacrifice, to commit, to dedicate, to make choices. So if we can touch on a little bit on the why or what, like what drives you, what are the driving forces that has kept you going for you and your boys, and the sacrifices of, like, you see your boys wanting to play. So I assume, like, man, I'm questioning. This is a question that pops in my head is like, my kids want to play pro, but is this the best place? And if we know that it's not, factually speaking, America is not the place for soccer. Yeah. So then you go, where is it at? Well, it's in Europe, right? International, Spain, places like that. So how does that, where does that come from? That choice of saying, we got to go, like, we have to. If these kids are really about this life, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a deeper, like, rooted, like, passion driver, or what's driving it? What gets you going to say, we're going to make that move to that world and live it and go that route? What do you say to that?
Yeah, so there's a few things there that are really important to kind of address and make sure that your audience and the people that are watching that potentially could be,
in a similar situation or something? Or what?
That, and also just soccer fans, football fans.
Oh, yeah, be careful with that word, Jerry.
Yeah, football.
You can't be saying the S word.
I apologize. But if you ask me, no, first you mentioned, that what we do. And I again, it's been experiences. A master at this, I'm not, but experiences I've gained.
Yeah.
Just a lot of it through trial and error, but I think when we're discussing this, it's important to clarify that we are not those parents that said, my kid is going to be a pro, and my kid is only 10 and 12, and I'm going to take him, overseas, and we're going to go play professional football because I have two little prodigies. It was the opposite. There were some things happening here in the States. Obviously, everybody knows about the school shootings that were
happening
often, regularly, and I'm not going to get into the details, but sadly, we made a choice to leave the States during one of the worst massacres, that the U.S. has ever known. With these shooters, right? With the school shootings. Yeah. But this one wasn't specifically at a school. This was at in Las Vegas, and a lot of people know the story.
Oh man, yeah.
This was the one where they were at
the country. It was a country festival or a country concert or something like that.
Country concert, and we know the story. Yeah. But it hit really close to home, very close to home, because one of the victims, unfortunately, and we obviously were saddened by not just that victim, this individual, but everyone else that lost their lives there, and families that were devastated and destroyed for the rest of their lives. It's not easy to have to deal with that. But one of the victims was a teacher at my boys' school, and so she passed, and I believe the husband also was shot in the arm, and the daughter. What really got to me was the daughter. They left the daughter. I'm not sure if they had any other kids, but my kids had to go to school to that. And they had, so it was very traumatic, traumatizing. And probably about a few months later, my sister-in-law calls me one day, and she says, it was in the morning. I had just dropped off the kids at school. And she says, Jerry, turn on the news. Do you see what's happening? Did you hear? I said, no. So I turned on the news, turned on the TV, and an active shooter in the area at our school, near our school. So I didn't think
little
twice.
Red flags and signs like, it's time to go.
It's time to go. So, I'm not going to get into what exactly happened, but I ended up obviously discussing with my wife and the boys, and we said, listen, let's change. Let's look for something different. Let's look for, we were already traveling to Europe for soccer tournaments, and so that was a big part of why we left. Yeah. Not to soccer. Yeah. Soccer was a part of our world no matter where we went. We could have gone to any other part of, the globe.
For sure.
But, visiting Spain, and then obviously they speak Spanish, so the language, the culture, the sport. And we made a decision to move to Europe, not because my kids were going to play professional, because No one can guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was because of what was happening here, and then we settled in Barcelona, Spain. So we stayed there.
Yeah.
The kids, in fact, struggled
Hmm.
for about 2 years or so. They were banned by FIFA.
What? I didn't know this. I didn't
Yeah,
know
they
any
were
of
not
this.
allowed to play.
Was that because of
the
the
sport.
American background or something, or?
No, because they probably felt that, because they were football players,
Mm-hmm.
and at perhaps the age
Mm-hmm.
that they were at during the time, might have been a red flag, for foreigners that come out and want to play football,
That's
because it
interesting.
wasn't recreational for them; it was competitive football.
Mm.
In fact, my oldest one was already had made one of the teams, one of the local teams in Barcelona that was playing at the highest level of
What team was this?
football. This was AE Prat,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were like near the airport,
Mm.
Prat Airport, and their team actually was, I believe, a second, third division team as well. So it was a professional team,
Mm-hmm.
and youngster 12, 13-year-old makes that team at the youth levels, was somewhat of a red flag, perhaps to FIFA.
Yeah.
So anyways, we were banned from playing football. That was the reason.
Jerry, keep talking. I'm gonna play with this light.
If that was that could have been, the reason why we would have, moved back to the States, but it wasn't. It was we had to deal with it. It was okay, but we knew the reasons why we moved and left, the States to go to Barcelona. So anyways, that's what we had to deal with, and so it's always been about family for us and keeping the kids together, and the motivating factor basically has always been just that passion for the sport, as far as, playing and wanting to play it at a higher level. But it's a lot of sacrifices, a lot of things that you have to take into account. And I just wanted to clarify that for anybody that might be watching, that, we weren't putting all our eggs in one basket thinking our kids are going to, play professional. So it was more a move that,
it was bigger than soccer.
It was
sure.
way bigger than soccer, for sure.
Okay,
In fact,
Jerry.
soccer was not even.
It wasn't even a major factor
No.
in the decision making. Well, thank you for sharing that, Jerry, because that's putting things in perspective there. But that's pretty cool that it just kind of almost played out, right? You're already going to Spain all the time with these tournaments,
Mm-hmm.
and then all this craziness happening here domestically. So you're like, maybe it's time for us to just try something else, and it was a good place to start, or to change. So there's a lot of I guess there was different motivating factors, but can we just chat for a couple minutes, Jerry, on the let's go. The word that keeps coming to mind is this passion. The kids have passion. You have passion. Everything you've done with the sport, with the team that you guys are owning, the vision that you guys have, it's all driven by passion. We've talked about this off camera and in other days. So you're passionate about it, but you're also the passion is something, but it's like you want more. You want more out of soccer. Like you want. It's almost like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but are you trying to make an impact in the culture, like soccer culture outside, like especially maybe here domestically, like because you have a team, you have training, you have coaching, you have tournaments, you do these things. When if we send kids to you, how much of that group of kids, what are you instilling in those kids? What the skills, sure, technicality, sure, fundamentals, sure, but I just know you enough to know that this is bigger than soccer. So what else are you doing? Or maybe just a few things. Name a couple of things. What are you doing? What are you doing with these kids?
Well, anytime a kid comes and is a part of organized sports or just sports in general, well, they come because there's a need.
Mm-hmm.
There's a void, whether it be lack of skill or they struggle in a team and they're not getting playing time, confidence, you name it.
Yeah.
What we have been the reason why we're here. So I find the reason why do we do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we do this is because we know that we can help the player
Mm-hmm.
not just play the sport,
Mm-hmm.
not just fall in love with the sport,
Mm-hmm.
but it's to become. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's to become
Maybe a better child, better
just
human being in life.
just a human being. I was going to say like a better citizen of the world,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
In this society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what does it entail to be a part of our program, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Respect,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
you know, being a team player.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes with you
Everywhere,
you go.
Any other
And it doesn't
industry,
have to
any
be
other.
in sports.
Yep.
But, you know, and that's what we teach our kids
Mm-hmm.
and anybody that comes through our program.
Yeah.
In fact, we have a saying that we say, anytime there's a kid that comes to try out for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times these kids come a little nervous, you know, they get the butterflies and the jitters and, you know, but we have a saying and we say, make sure, I'll ask the kids out loud, guys, we have Ben coming up, you know, for the first time. So let's make sure that he feels like, and everybody says family.
Mm-hmm.
So there's family values, you
That's
know, there's
awesome.
a bunch of values, you know,
Yeah.
things that are important in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then that player is pretty much sold the minute they walk in and they realize, you know, this is different. This is not, you know, just about soccer.
This is bigger than soccer.
This is bigger than football.
Yeah, and I can imagine they get to have that incredible experience.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking one thing, oh, I'm just gonna get better, I'm gonna get some training.
Yeah.
But it's like no, this is beyond soccer, and that's where they're sold in. They're like, I'm all in. Let's go.
And this I mean, I've had and you know, I probably share this really brief, but I've had kids who perhaps parents are dealing with a difficult situation within the relationship of the parents,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe there's a breakup, or maybe there's a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I've had kids that struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's hard to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel that we're in a position to not even discuss football.
Mm.
And you know, this is an opportunity for us to make sure that that child feels protected,
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You know, we embrace them, and we're psychologists.
Yeah.
You know, we are mentors to
Yeah.
these kids.
Yeah.
We're parents to these kids. So I had one incident where one of the kids was just having a hard time, bad attitude, you know, didn't want to play, didn't want to compete. He would get mad at his teammates. It was always an issue
Mm-hmm.
with the behavior,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to the root of it, and we found out that that was the issue.
There was
So
something happening outside of the soccer world
outside
that
of
was
football.
reflecting itself in the soccer
So this is why
place.
it's more than football.
Yeah. Why, Jerry? Why? I'm sorry to interject here, but why? Why do that? Why care? Because this is amazing, and you know.
Yeah.
But I just want to hear from you. Why go there? Why offer that? And I say this way because some other places don't care about that stuff, Jerry.
Yeah.
They don't care. They don't got time. These programs, and we're not going to bash on anybody, but just, you know this. You know this way more than I do. But I have my daughter in club soccer at a 9-year-old, and I've seen the competition, and I've seen the different degrees and levels. And I go, some people ain't offering anything other than just a moment of sport. But you guys go beyond that. But why? I think you touched on it. We want to make better human beings.
Yeah.
Why do you want to make better human beings? Why does that matter? I'm curious to ask that.
I just think it's something that you really can't explain. You know, it's very genuine.
Yeah.
It's very it's who you are.
Yeah.
It's who you what how do I say it? It's you living again and saying, "Wow, that was supposed to be me. I was in that position, or I could have been in that position."
Maybe giving back.
So it's giving back, but it's also finding a way
To help others. Yeah.
to fill those voids.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up trying to play baseball.
Yeah.
Never got the chance.
Yeah.
So, you know that saying that no child ever left behind,
Yeah.
or soldiers
Yeah.
that are never left behind.
Yeah.
That's it for us.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. That's
No
saying,
child ever left behind.
So in another word, in other words, any kids going into your space, they family. You take care of them. We go above and beyond to give them an incredible experience. Yes, let's do soccer, but this is bigger than soccer.
Yeah.
And I wish there was more of that happening. And sadly, which I think you would agree that not everyone's doing that, right? Not everyone's doing that.
It's tough. It's a brutal world out there with the sport of football.
Yeah.
Competitive sports in general.
Do you think people get lost in
Absolutely.
like so much of the competition and the winning and that establish and go get and the objective versus the other elements? Do they get lost in it? Or you've seen that?
Absolutely. I mean, it's, as I said, sometimes even parents, dads.
Yeah.
Speaking to the dads, right? Like, could be trying to live their dream
through their children,
through their kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, we know stories of professional athletes that were, the parents, fathers were treating them like they were robots.
Yeah.
And pretty much took away their childhood.
Yeah.
Did not allow them to enjoy, the early teens and
the seasons of being a teen, a kid,
just being
a boy, a young kid,
just being a boy, being a girl.
Yeah.
And every day it seems to get worse.
Yeah.
Every day it seems to just
that we're losing it. We're losing the essence. That we're losing the focus. Is that what you mean? Like when you say as we get forward in time, things are getting worse.
Things are getting worse because you're losing the focus. But there's nothing wrong with competing in sports and being a part of a competitive program.
Yeah.
But
where's the wrong then? The wrong is when you've become the obsession and the focus, right?
That, but also on the football side is sometimes people make the mistake of expecting a whole lot more from players, kids who may not be ready, who perhaps, may not even want to be.
Yeah.
And we're expecting too much from them.
Yeah.
So we are overwhelming these kids.
Yeah.
And then that's where the struggle comes in.
Yeah.
And every day, as I said, it continues to get worse.
Yeah.
You are having these kids carry luggages.
Yeah.
Loads of things that they really shouldn't be carrying.
Unbearable. They can't. They're not meant to carry those things. So Jerry, you're touching on something that I think would be perfect to get us into our closing, which is what do you advise anyone that's out there, any parent that's overdoing that? Like, what are you saying to them? And then what are you saying to the kid that wants to? Two different questions. One is the parents that are doing too much. What do you say to them to kind of be like, come on, like this is bigger than this. Like let's because of what we just mentioned, right? The load, the bearing, and then the second question after that would be, what do you talk to that kid that's gonna watch this and it's like, man, I'm the kid, I'm the young guy, I'm the young adult, I'm that preteen or the teenager that wants to do this, and let's talk to them in a second too after that, like because I want to talk to that kid that wants to play at a high level, and what does it take? Let's go to the parents first. What do you say to that? And I'm going to go back to this freaking light, man.
So to the parents, it is just allow your kids to just enjoy, the process of playing organized sports and being a part of a team environment and, having, that camaraderie and cohesiveness and allow just kids to just enjoy the sport. Don't set unrealistic expectations, and allow the kids to fall in love with the sport.
Yeah. Love would be the thing that carries them through the mess, right? If they love it, they can go through the storm.
Yeah.
But if they don't love it and it gets hard,
they quit.
They quit or they resent it. They fight against it. So it's taking a step back
and understanding that they're still kids.
Yeah.
That there's a time and a place where eventually if the sport if the kids are developing and are showing signs that they should be playing at higher levels, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, just enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at some of the professional athletes, like one of the most famous guys out there now is Neymar.
Mm-hmm.
Neymar was playing futsal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was discovered playing in a gym, in a basketball gym, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Playing futsal, indoor soccer. He was about 13,
Not
12,
club.
13. And there's an interview. Zico, a famous Brazilian soccer player, legend,
Mm-hmm.
is interviewing Neymar. He says, were you playing organized football? Were you playing 11v11? No, just playing futsal.
Crazy.
Discovered, enjoying the game.
Just love the sport, man. Have fun with it, play with it, and then pass that on to the kids. All right, Jerry. Let's talk.
That's to the parents.
Yeah.
That's to the parents.
To the parents. Let's talk to this kid that's watching this. He goes, I wanna be the best I can be. I'd love to be a pro one day. What do you say to that kid? What's your advice to these kids, man? If they're ready for that next level, what are you telling them?
First,
come to me.
First,
register.
Just be, 100% honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
By saying, that it's a very difficult sport to play. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult to play even at the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult to play third division, second division. Mm-hmm. It is extremely difficult to get to the pros. Mm-hmm. So start off with just understanding that you need to work on your craft, and and you take your time, but you don't stop the grind. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of it is just doing those things that are going to get you to perhaps be noticed, and a lot of that just has to do with a lot of the training and preparation, and a lot of it is mental, not just the football part of it. So it's a mixture of a lot of things, but more importantly, I would say the same thing that I would say to the parents. Enjoy the game. Love the game. Fall in love with the game. Fall in love with the game and work on your craft. Yeah. Work at it every day. The passion, the drive has to be there. And I think it's every kid wants to be a professional athlete. Every kid wants to be, a professional singer, an actor, a superstar. But it just depending on the age as well. If you're young, teenagers, just enjoy the game, continue to develop. There's phases to this, and that's where I think my boys are at. I talk to my boys every day, and I tell them work hard, but I also tell them let loose, enjoy the sport. The sport of football is to be, in my opinion, a lot of it has to be creativity. It's an art. Yeah. So go out there and be yourself. Be creative.
Express yourself
and be who you are. Yeah. And showcase and just enjoy it. Yeah. And
don't overdo it. Yeah. Don't overthink it. Jerry, because something comes to mind as we get ready to close. I remember I played at a championship game. I had two championships in basketball. I had two championship games. I think this was several months ago, but this year.
Not the one where you took the last shot.
No.
Not that one. Not the one where you didn't pass me the ball.
That's where definitely I did not pass you the ball.
And we were 4-0.
Oh, we're going to talk about that one on another episode of basketball. But just something that comes to mind is there was these two championship games I had in this 1 week. The first game, I remember I played horribly. It was like a Tuesday championship game. Then I had a Thursday championship game. The Tuesday one, I played insanely awful because I was overthinking. I was overdoing. I wanted, it was too much like championship game. Sucked, and we lost. Then the second round, 2 days later, I got this other championship game, and I remember telling myself, you can't play that way. It's like that saying, you gotta let the game come to you. Have fun out there, man. Do you, man. Just play your game. Dribble,
let me be me.
Yes.
Let me be me.
No, seriously. And I remember, Jerry, it was effortless. It was smooth. It was great. The decisions, the choices, the defense, offense, and that came to mind when you were saying Like you wanna play it the way you talk to your boys. Like, hey, work hard, but let loose, but be yourself. Like, I feel like that is one of the secrets to playing well, doing well.
Yeah.
Like a job, you got even outside of
No
sport.
pressure.
Right. Let's talk outside of sport. You got a job interview.
Yeah.
You're gonna be all like tense because you really want the job, and you're gonna say everything perfect, and you're gonna just be you, man. Relax. It's the same thing in acting, and like I've got
Relax and Unwind podcast.
Relax and unwind. Jerry, I've gone into interviews for auditions. For some strange reason, the auditions I am probably the most confident in anything versus basketball versus job interviews. Like auditions is like I'm not nervous, bro. Like I'm so relaxed, and I could tell that the other people waiting in the waiting room, they are
Tense.
super tense. Like they're like, dude, like,
Anxious,
just
nervous,
relax, man. And I think that comes off. I think that's where the magic happens. The magic in acting, the magic in a meeting someone, like a job interview, dating, like whatever. Like if you're overdoing it, sport, whatever the case may be, you're probably not giving the best version of yourself until you just relax, let the game come to you, be yourself, trust the work that you've put in, be confident, have fun.
Yeah, all those things are important.
May everything happen the way it's going to happen.
And since you're mentioning other things, I mean, when I was a kid, I was probably hustling when I was like 9, but at the age of like 11 or 12, I remember selling chocolates. I would get picked up by this one guy that was driving a van and had a bunch of teenagers, and they were all selling chocolates. And one of the scripts that we had to read was, we'd knock on a door. If they open the door, say you open the door, and you said, we will say to you, before you say yes, let me show you what I have. Before
that was the script?
That was the script. So I applied a little bit of that, to get rid of the pressure in real estate, for example, right? Or even just in like job interviews. Chances are you're going to say no, right? Chances are I'm not going to book it. And that's not maybe being not confident. You're just trying to get rid of that pressure, the extra load that you don't need.
Yeah.
That was the approach that I know helped a lot of, or at least me in many situations. And I try to bring that to the son. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
You're not going to make it on that team. So what?
Yeah.
At least go perform and go play and go have fun and showcase.
Yeah.
And have them maybe think twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have them guess or keep them guessing, like wondering, like, should we or should we not? What do we do? Put them in a position where maybe they're the ones that are
dealing with the pressure. No, that's beautiful, Jerry. I hear you.
And that's one thing we instill in, all of our kids that come. So when we go to these international tournaments, which we can talk about another day, that's what it's about. We want to compete against the best of the best, and there is no pressure.
Yeah.
They're supposed to beat us.
Yeah.
We are supposed to lose. Yeah. We know that.
Yeah.
So what are we worried about?
So let's go have some fun and kick some butt while we're
let's go out there, and if you ask me, let's just wrap it up.
Jerry, I gotta insert an experience that I had about this example because it's spot on. When I got my real estate license, everyone was telling me, bro. Everyone, my friends that the real estate community in the small little community I had, you're gonna fail the first time. You're gonna fail the first time. Everybody fails. Everybody fails. That was the whole story. So I go, you know what? I literally made this decision. I said, you know what? Fine. Most likely I'm gonna fail according to what everybody's saying. So screw it. I'm gonna study my tail off, anyways. Try my best, and I'll get it on the second, third try, whatever happens. Because apparently, the word is, or the common thing to some of these people, and it's probably even a false reality. Maybe everyone passes, but whatever. So I showed up, I think I was like 30 minutes late. I definitely was late. I wasn't 5 minutes. I was late to my appointment. I was the last guy to walk in. Everybody's already sitting down doing the test.
You already know you're going to.
Yeah, I'm just late. I'm
stressing.
Man, I'm waking up super calm that morning, grabbing breakfast, getting myself ready. I don't care. I'm like, I still got time. I'm going to fail anyways.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm going to fail anyways. I'm not going to pass anyways, right? But I knew I did the hard work. I did the hard work.
Yeah, that's important.
That did not go away. Yeah. That was there. I literally sacrificed my time. I put in the work to try to give myself the best shot possible. But the point I'm trying to get to is this: the day of, the pressure of. I had no pressure, Jerry. I showed up late. 30 minutes late. I am the one walking last to go into, where's the pencil? Everybody's sitting down. Find my seat. I'm the last guy in the room. Yeah. I finished. I'm the first guy to finish. 20 minutes early because your time, like a certain time period. I'm just going through my answers, bro. I'm just looking. I think this is the answer. Process elimination, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, however long it did. I show up late and I finish early. I walked out and they tell you right then and there in that moment. The whole time I was thinking, like, hurry up and tell me I didn't pass so I can set the next appointment.
Yeah.
I passed. I couldn't believe it, bro. I was like, what? I show up late. Yeah. I leave early. But it was about the no pressure that allowed me to just tap into the pre-work that I have done. The hard work was done. The no pressure allowed me to just flow with that reality. I think, and I got my pass. And so I just thought, and that came to my mind as we're talking about, just let the game come to you, baby. That was the moral of the story there.
Yeah, the best advice that anybody can get and take out of this, podcast that you're hosting today is that you already know, based on popularity or the, whatever the opinion is of others, you already know. So why do you care?
Let it go.
Just let it be. Go do you. No pressure. Handle your business, and I think all things will fall in place. Yeah. But you said something that was key. Is you just didn't stop working though. Yeah. You prepared for that.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You put that work in. Jerry, so as we close, again, thank you, man, for the time.
Pleasure.
I think whomever's watching, they're gonna be blessed by it for sure, because especially if you love the sport. Like if this is your sport, then you definitely they're tuned in on hearing it. But what can someone do to reach out to you, to your organization? How do people get a hold of you? Whether it's training, whether it's coaching, whether it's tournaments, whether it's mentorship, like what are you offering and to the world in this sport? You specifically, what are you offering for them, and how do they get a hold of you to sign up for anything that you're offering?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we do multiple things within the sport of football, but when we're here in the States, we are inviting and extending an invitation to high-level advanced level players that want the experience of coming and competing at one of these international tournaments. So the tournament that we're going to be attending next year in the spring, specifically last week of March during the spring break, Passover week, is the MIC Cup. MIC, MIC stands for Mediterranean International Cup. And that is where you get to play very high-level teams from all over the world, including some of the, more reputable and more recognized clubs in the world. Barcelona, Madrid, the PSGs, the Manchester United, Man City, the big clubs, professional clubs. A lot of them bring their youth teams and compete in this tournament. So you get that opportunity of almost like playing in a mini World Cup, if you will.
Yeah. It sounds like a massive deal.
Like. Yeah. So we offer that opportunity, and kids have to try out for that. And they could always go to our website. It's, I don't know if we're allowed to.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot it out. What's your website? We'll even tag it in there.
.westcoastelitefc.com.
Yeah. And we'll tag it. We'll put it on the little bios.
In fact, we're having open tryouts this Friday morning, 10 a.m. in Pomona.
Okay.
And if you want more information about that, or any of your viewers are interested in that, they can send us, they can register via the email, the website.
Okay.
There's a link at the top of the page that just says registration to upcoming events. And we also offer, or they can also reach out to us via direct. I'm sure you can probably share our information as well with the viewers.
Yeah, Jerry, we can tag everything from your social medias to emails to phone numbers, whatever.
They can email us at info@westcoastelitefc.com as well. And then we also offer private trainings, group trainings. We are now here in California, but we have about another week here, and then we're off back to Honduras to work with the third division team there as well. So we offer opportunities for players that would love to play, in a professional environment, professional team, that opportunity as well.
Okay.
And we do a lot of video analysis for players. We do a lot of scouting. So, it's a bunch of different things that we do it's all related to the sport. We do player representation as well. We have our management company, NHR, Newhouse Sports Rock Management. Yeah, did I say that right? Newhouse Rock Sports Management.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to give kids an opportunity to play at the highest level of youth football internationally, and we also prepare players to play here locally and help develop players to play in the more competitive and more competitive leagues, and obviously in this case it would be like the MLS Academy and so forth. So it's all about development. It's all about getting the players exposed to the higher levels of football.
Awesome, Jerry. Well, I could ask you 1,000 more questions. We can go in so many different directions. Let's have the very quick seconds of question for fun here.
Go for it.
Who's the greatest, Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo? Or should we save that for part 2?
No, definitely.
I think it's Messi, bro, by far. But I'm not a soccer guy, so it's like I wouldn't know.
Listen, for the record, this one is for the record because my kids are going to be watching.
Yeah.
So, for the record, there's a lot of things that I admire about both players.
Of course.
But I admire Ronaldo for the work ethic because he was a player that had to really work to get to the top and has stayed and remained at the top for a while. Not easy. For Messi, it seemed as if he was just
born and
was
the king.
Was given that gift of.
He was the Neo, the chosen one in the Matrix,
pretty much. And he's been the reason why so many people, including Ronaldo, follow the sport and fell in love with the sport. My kids, and I was gonna mention this at the beginning of the podcast where, they were crying and Messi loses the World Cup finals against Germany. But then after that, it was, the money. We had to spend money.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dollars buying Messi cleats every 3 months, every 6 months. These kids, fell in love with the sport. And it was like, oh, my gosh, here we go. Yeah. Messi comes out with a brand new pair of shoes every 3 months.
Yeah.
So all that led to, loving the sport. So, these two guys are just
they're at the top.
They're at the top right now.
But you still haven't answered the question.
I think Messi is the GOAT.
Yeah.
I think Kobe Bryant, just for the record, is the GOAT.
We're not gonna go there, Jerry. This is my podcast.
Yeah. Relax and unwind. Up next. We got next. That might be my podcast.
We got next. Just don't give me the ball, Jerry. I ain't if it's the last shot, if it comes down to the last shot.
Guys, just for the record, if you're watching this,
shot, Jerry?
Do not call a timeout. Before you pass the ball to Ben, call a timeout. Make sure
if you got 4 seconds on the clock.
If you got 0.4 seconds.
Somebody's got to take the ball.
If you got 0.4.
You pass it to me, I'm taking that shot, Jerry.
You gotta think about this one.
I'm taking that shot.
0.4 belongs to a lefty, which was Derek Fisher. Ben is a left. He's a lefty.
It was meant to be, dude. It was meant to be.
But that one didn't go in.
That's to be told. That is for when we talk basketball. But Jerry, look,
find that film.
Let's wrap this up by that was just a fun little question, but I can't say it enough. Thank you, Jerry, for the time. I appreciate you giving me the moment. It was definitely not as truly planned to be this long. It was supposed to be a lot shorter, but we flowed with it, and I appreciate you giving it to me. So, guys, if you're tuned in to this moment, if you're getting value from this, we're going to tag all the information where you guys can reach out to Jerry, to the organizations that he's with. But if you felt that this brought something good to you, like just anything about it, let us know. Put it in the comments, send an email, call in. We'd love to hear about it because you may have a question that we could just go deeper with. And I think, Jerry, I could probably speak on behalf of you when you would say, we're here for you guys. This is bigger than soccer. We're here for you. Jerry, do you want to throw in something in there?
No, I was just going to say, or they may want to discuss a specific topic.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're it could be within the subject of soccer or anything of the nature. It could be about whatever. This is why my podcast exists. If you ask me, it's about anything and everything. But so we encourage you to take part into that because we're trying to build that community check in, talk, comment, share, and definitely subscribe and like and comment and follow on all the different platforms so that you can stay up to date with what all the different stuff we're going to be talking about. We have a designated number to call. The number is 562-583-9895. That's the number you can call or text to ask away any questions. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our time today. Thank you for staying with us this very second. We appreciate you. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.